I'd like to welcome you all to the City of Cocoa Beach, September 18th, 2024 Board of Adjustment. And can we please stand for the pledge? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we get a roll call, sir?
Gotta watch that chair scoot out, you'll sit on the floor.
Ron Ames,
Here.
Donald Balger is excused. John Cabord,
Here.
Michael Goldberg,
Here.
Rick Anderson,
Here.
Summerfall Cullen is excused. James Cole,
Here.
we have a quorum.
Does anybody have any disclosure conflicts? I'll start. I drove by the home, talked with the homeowner for a few minutes and looked at everything because I didn't quite understand it on the readout. So it's good to look at them, everybody.
I stopped by the house also.
I as well.
Okay, good. And it says here a special presentation. What is that?
That's.
Just in
I
case?
think, yeah, in case we have one. It's
It's a placeholder in there.
Shit, make Bob.
Do you hear my phone ringing?
In your pants?
No, it's my watch. Okay. Oh,
Can you trust him with a hand
You get old, you have hearing aids, you got a watch and you got a phone all ringing, you don't know what it is. Okay, where are we?
public comment.
Any public comments?
Any public?
Any public? Staff reports?
All right. I put together a little presentation just to go over it, maybe a little bit more in detail, because just like you guys, a little bit easier once you see it all. So if you want to go to the next. Okay, so just so everybody knows, that's the address, 488 4th Street. This is a canal. This is McNabb that comes down and dead ends into the canal, and that's 4th Street. Just so everybody kind of gets an idea of where the property is. Okay, we'll go to the next one. This is the actual property with the lot. And the fence that we're going to talk about comes off the house, runs down along here to the seawall. And that's what we're going to talk about today, just that particular part. There's been a fence there since the 50s. So it's just a matter now of putting a higher fence on that property line. I've switched this drawing around a little bit so we could read the bottom. So the concept is the 6-foot fence will come off the corner of that house there and roll down the side of their property line. There's an easement that runs through the backyard, okay, along that canal, all the way down 4th Street. The concept someday is to put a pool in here. So they wanted to do a 6-foot wall now, or fence wall now, and they're gonna put a 10-foot gate in there for the city in case we ever have to get in through that easement. That way they don't have to take the fence apart or anything like that. So they've thought ahead a little bit about that. And then we'll have another piece of fence here that'll be 5 foot. And then it will drop to a 4-foot fence all the way down to the canal. City code is you have to have from 15 feet from the canal, it can only be 4 foot high. So they're following that guideline as well. They're actually around 18 feet away from the canal. And then they're going to put in the same over on this side, 6-foot fence, which that meets property, it's in between the property of another person. It's fine, it all meets code. And then again, run 4 foot down to the seawall.
The fence to the east doesn't need a variant, or doesn't need, that's permitted.
That's permitted, that
Okay.
all meets code over there. And actually, they're trying to meet code over here, going to the 4 foot as well. This is fine. So they're really looking at this piece of fence here, that 6 foot on the property line.
How long is that length?
It's 31 feet to the gate. And that gate is 10 foot. And then there's 6 foot of 5 foot high fence on the other side of the gate.
Why do you say the north side is fine?
This side,
No, the north side, that little piece over near the driveway?
oh, because that's behind the house.
Was it on
So-
the side of the house?
Well, it's on the side of the house, but it's not up to the property line. So as long as it's behind the house, you can be 6 foot high, behind the face of the house. And they're actually, the face of the house is up here, so,
I thought they had to be 5 feet
no.
from the property line to be 6.
That's if you're on a side lot like they are here. So they have a road over on this side. And if you go back 5 feet from the property line, you can go up to 6 foot without any variance. Okay? If you go to the property line, you have to have a variance.
That's just for site trafficking, for cars and stuff. I thought it actually was 25 feet.
Yeah. And there's one more piece of this too. They have a, part of the code, you have to have a visible triangle whenever you come up to a corner. And they're like 28 feet back. The visible triangle has to be across this so you can see it from either direction. It's a 25-foot triangle. So this corner here is way past the 25-foot visible triangle required by code. Okay, let's go to the next one. And that's what the 6-foot fence will look like, and it's kind of got a peekaboo, which is kind of nice. This is the 4-foot fence. It's actually going to be white, but they did give us a picture of what it will look like. So basically, it'll be a see-through fence, which would be real nice down by the canal.
In the white plastic?
That one's aluminum, it'll be white aluminum.
Aluminum? Okay.
Yep, white aluminum.
But that's gonna be that's gonna be 6 feet?
That'll be the 4-foot.
Okay.
That's the 4-foot white aluminum, and then this will be the 5 and 6 foot vinyl.
I'm just curious why you wouldn't put something more private along the swimming pool? Is it
Well, the
because you have
swimming
views
pool,
of the canal or?
the swimming pool will be behind this.
Okay, okay.
This is gonna be down by the water.
Oh, okay.
That'll be just adjacent from
Okay,
the
so this is
gate.
gonna be.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be white with the peek through. Okay.
Mike, can you go back 1 second? You talked about an easement. Show me where the easement is?
Yeah,
On the canal?
go back one. Oop. The easement runs right through here.
Well, no, you mentioned that they had to put a big gate there on the side.
Yeah, they're gonna put a gate here that will allow the city access if they ever have to get,
Oh, okay, that's, sorry.
that makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then the next slide has some of the land development codes, and the resident has basically approved and done everything that's on here. The only thing that we're really looking to do is go to the 6 foot high on the property line. So all the fence installations, they require a permit. They've already got one that's in the works. It's on hold now because they were going to do the other side as well. So they've already got a permit in the works. It's in the hopper. All we have to do is get the variance approved and we can complete that. Again, the gates should provide the access to the property for the easement, so they've complied with that as well. No fence is permitted to interfere with the site visibility. That's that 25-foot triangle that I talked about on the corner of each lot on side streets. And again, it talks about on a corner lot, the fence is constructed along the property line. It can only be 4 foot high, and that's what we're looking to do for 6 foot. And portions of the fence constructed within 15 feet of the waterway can only be constructed to a maximum of 4 feet, and they have complied with that as well.
Now, is this pool going to happen, or is this a may happen someday?
It's gonna happen,
It-
we don't know when, and we don't know what type of pool. But it'll be in ground.
The final plan of the pool was contingent, first of all,
I need you to come up to the mic.
If we can save questions for the applicants until it's their turn to come up and just direct questions to staff at this point, that way everyone can be captured for the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions that you have for me?
Is staff making recommendations on these, or you guys aren't making recommendations?
We're making a recommendation that they have met everything that they need other than the variance, so we approve it.
Okay. And then, I assume all of the neighbors or everyone within such radius was notified?
Everybody within a 300 feet radius have been notified. Signs have been put out. I have not heard a word from anybody. Nobody has come back to me at all about either way.
That's good. No one
Yeah.
around them cares. That's,
Well, it kind of makes sense. It's a dead-end street. It's really not affecting anybody. It just makes good sense if we can allow them to build a pool someday.
The question I have is, you had mentioned earlier, a 6-foot fence, we wouldn't be here if it was set back how far?
5 feet.
5 feet. The question I have is, does this set a precedent for the entire neighborhood?
no.
Nothing we do sets
No,
precedence.
nothing sets precedence. Everything
Okay.
is individually determined
All
here.
right, that's fine, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Rick, looks like you got something.
No.
No? Okay. You want to talk to the owner? Questions for
Owner
the
would
owner?
like to come up, you're welcome to come up and explain to us if, other than the planning man did a great job.
Okay, hello, for those of you that I don't know, I'm Bobby, this is Susie, and we want to really express our thanks to Corey and Lauren and Randy and everybody down there have been extremely helpful in this. Basically, all we're trying to do is, as Corey did in his presentation, we tried to be very thoughtful of what the city and the utility company people and anybody that might need access, because we do have power lines that run directly over the backyard. We also have a sewer line that runs right through the backyard, basically under the power lines. So the portion of our yard that faces the pool is off limits to ever put a pool, that faces the canal. That's basically, we'll never be able to put a pool there, right? So our only option is next to the garage, that tiny little piece of land that we have between the existing fence and so the option of bringing the fence back 5 feet, by the time you squeeze that in there, you've got, enough room for a bathtub, basically, So we're not trying to get greedy with where we want the fence line as much as to the practical, place of having a pool that we could actually use, something worth spending the money on putting in. So we tried to think ahead, and if the visibility issue was an issue with anybody, instead of doing a solid 6 foot, we came up so many feet to 4 foot or whatever, and then the last was going to be rungs, so if you had to see through for any reason, you could, but we do have the solid base, 4 foot. Then we dropped it down to 5 foot at that section where the gate is going to be, so that everybody would have access, so they wouldn't have to come through the front, tear everything up, or tear the fence down to get to it. So we're trying to think ahead for everybody, make it as practically, usable for not only us, but for anybody that needs to get access. And then, of course, the last portion dropped down even farther to come to the regular code, so that we don't interfere with any of our neighbors' view of the water, and of course, the other side, we did the same thing, but that's not in question, because that's just a neighbor that I'm dealing with. So we're trying to make sure that for what we're asking you to do, we also had you in mind on every way that we tried to design this. So, and we talked to all the neighbors completely understand. When we first bought the house, we redid everything in the house, and the last thing that we had to do was the seawall. And then before we can do the backyard and the pool and everything else that we wanted to do, we got to get the seawall and the fence first. And the fence is basically what's held us up. And so if we can, I'm trying to get everything in this house squared away so that she's left with, a good situation. So I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you had a question?
I don't know, does anybody?
I don't have any questions.
Give someone a chance, I don't have anything.
No, I have no question.
I'm fine.
I guess there's anybody in the audience who wants to speak for it or against it. Don't see anyone, so we'll close public comment. We'll discuss it amongst
Well, I still want
ourselves.
to discuss, I still have questions
Yes.
about the property. I'm looking at this survey, and it looks like the fence is not on the property line existing right now, is that correct?
Actually, there is a fence on the property line right now.
According to this, it looks like it's,
Well, it's been there since 1950s, on and off. It's an old wooden picket fence at this point.
right, but is it on the property line? According to this survey, it doesn't look like it is.
Well, it is. There was a variance to move the property line to the fence. That's already been approved, and that's, because originally the fence was in the right-of-way.
It was a vacation. more than-
Yep, there was a vacation for ordinance, and that's been approved, so that is the property line now.
Okay, and what about the part over by the river? It kind of jets out?
Yep, that's all part of the property line
It's
now.
all been approved? Okay.
Correct. And that's the actual new survey for that.
The only thing, whether we approve or disapprove, is there a certain length of this fence? Or are we just doing it per what we see in this little drawing? Like
I would-
exactly where the 6-foot fence stops?
I would say that it would be on the property line, the variance, anything on the property line
Right,
that's
from-
from behind the house.
From the north side going south, where do we pick that fence ends? Are we allowing 6 feet all the way to the river?
Why don't we just say as it is in the packet?
There we go.
Why don't we
That's
just
probably a
reference
good
the
idea.
fact, like, we would approve based on the
Based on
drawing
what we
and
see.
just reference that as evidence.
And for me to be able to approve the fence on the building permit, it'll have to be part of this variance as well. So however we word it, it'll be put in there up to that point of, it'll be 6 foot to the gate where the gate's represented, and then 5 foot until the 4 foot area.
Okay.
We could do something like that.
There also has to be a time prescribed by the board for the applicant to begin constructing the fence once the variance is approved. Our code allows for up to 24 months. Generally, for something like this, 12 months is usually reasonable.
Do you
Just-
give us the language for that in the packet?
No, that information is contained in the code. What's in the packet is the code provision the applicants are looking to modify with the variance. The standards for variances is set out in a different section of the code.
So what you're saying is on the read and the vote, we have to specify a timeline or something when we vote on it in motion?
To occur, to start within 12 months of the date of approval, something like
You
that.
know, in the past, it's always been 2 years.
Yeah, you can do 2 years, whatever you all
Yeah, I don't
decide.
see any reason not to.
In future in the packets, can we just have that language so it moves quick? That way we don't have to stop?
Normally in a packet, we have the motion for or against is written out.
Yeah.
And we also have the conditions. So I guess,
In the
Yes,
event,
that would make it much easier, especially this one isn't applicable, but on a complicated one where you've got, that would make it, our jobs much easier and much more likely to be compliant for something that's,
No, that sounds perfect. We'll
In
make sure
normal
that
work,
happens.
I've got that verbiage.
in the event the property is sold, does this variance transfer with it?
Yeah, that's a,
Even before the fence is constructed?
It would. I don't think the applicants are going to sell their house anytime soon.
they're working too hard to get this.
Yeah, it sounds like they're there for the long term.
Just
but-
asking a question.
when was the vacancy that
a good
needed
question.
the additional property?
that was last month on the 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so there's no opposition? There's been no, you didn't get, all right. I'm inclined to support a fence that is
Okay, you got-
not subject to any opposition from anyone anywhere.
Notice signs all over the place at that end of the street. I'm used to trying to find one.
I know, I saw that.
Well,
Yeah, I kind of agree with John. I don't personally see any reason why not. It is a different type of property than most properties that are on corner streets. That would technically be the hardship. It's not blocking anyone, no one's disapproved, so
okay.
I have no problem.
I like the fact that these folks are moving into our community and living in our community and putting a lot of money into improving their property and plan to live in the property. And I think that's pretty important these days. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a lot more willing to.
And it's not an Airbnb.
Correct. I was avoiding that, but exactly.
Yeah, don't go
Exactly.
there.
So, yeah, so I mean, you know, these folks have obviously put a lot into their property, so.
If you do a drive-by the house, you can see how well it's maintained from the outside.
Well, I mean, just a description, it would, I think these folks referred to repairing the seawall. I know that's no small feat. And that's huge, and we've got miles and miles of seawall in the city that is in need of repair. So the fact that they've put that much of their own equity into it, and the fact that they have, you know, to deal with the easements across their backyard, which is kind of an unusual situation, yeah, I think this is very reasonable.
So if I want to make a motion to bring it to vote, to pass it, what do?
Unless there's no further discussion, we're all done.
Oh.
Someone's more than welcome to make a motion.
Are we going with the 2-year limit on the construction beginning? Or we're
That's a
gonna-
city.
That's kind of a general thing.
It's okay.
It's always been.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the adjustment as read and as presented in the packet.
Second.
Good, so we have motion, and now we can call the roll.
Don Haynes,
Yes.
John Cabot,
Yes.
Michael Goldberg,
Yes.
Rick Anderson,
Yes?
James Cole.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. So go get it. Thank you all.
Thank you for coming.
Next thing is
Thank you for being good citizens.
staff reports.
If you don't mind, I'd like to shake your hands. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Public comment, we already asked for.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your help.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you for your help, sir. Thank you, thank you.
Let us know when we can come for a swim.
Yes, I know. It did come with a stipulation, invite to the pool.
Invite you guys to come help build it.
That wasn't part of the deal.
I know how to draw up a contract.
Do you gentlemen have anything to say?
No, sir?
Just,
The only thing, that as we get down at the bottom, that we didn't do from the beginning is approve the minutes. If someone wants to make a motion for that.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
All in favor?
I'm not sure which minutes I'm approving, because we haven't met for a year, so.
February.
Yeah, about 5 months ago.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
We don't have any unfinished business. We don't have any new business.
well, just to reiterate though, it would, as John said, it would be really helpful to have the code and actual something that we approve. I think the lawyer would appreciate that too. You know,
I think that's great.
very specific language, like we used to do in the past, if you look back.
It saves y'all's butt, because then we can just motion to approve as drafted, and then it's all there, we've all seen it, there's no, and especially to your point on ones that have like contingencies and stuff, or, you know, and if there's something to be discussed, like just leave it blank and we can pencil it, you know, that's, make it easy for us to make it easy for everyone.
Usually it comes, I mean, I've never seen them ask us for the years. It's always said 2 years in every one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no reason, I don't think, unless anyone disagrees, why it wouldn't be that.
Yeah, whatever we need to make it official to make it, yeah, that makes sense.
That makes great sense.
They're just,
Yeah, it would
now
probably
you
operate
immediately
already.
issue a building permit. Right, that's the only thing you're waiting, it's all in and approved other than these subsequent, waiting on the variances.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, if there's no further questioning and anything, we are, everybody ready? Sure.